Dan, Bill Livingston, the Plain Dealer. First of all, do you think LeBron was sound? I know he said he was, but it wasn't sound, the elbow, and we didn't see the same LeBron we've seen in the past. And by your statement after Game 5, clearly you were very disturbed about the effort, which is next door to quitting anyway.
Well, I don't have any more information on the elbow than anybody said. I really don't. I just, that's one of the things clearly that you'll be asking questions. But there won't be a single question that a fan or a reporter who watches this team would ask that we wouldn't ask or won't ask. So, whatever question you would have would be the same type of questions we would ask. I think my evaluation of the whole team, and I think anybody's evaluation of the team, including the team's evaluation of the team, obviously would not be a passing grade, right? And I don't think there's anybody that would disagree with that, from Coach Brown to Danny Ferry to myself to LeBron James to anybody who's watching it. So, this stuff is, some of it's pretty objective, right? So what I say up here isn't going to change. Yeah, I mean, there you go. So it's it's the type of business that you can just look at the score and look at the final result. Some things are a little bit less objective. You can look at various parts of business and people can have opinions. There's no necessary clear right and wrong, but I think here it's pretty obvious.
Dan, Tom Withers, AP again. Dan, can you imagine this franchise without LeBron?
Well, for the 5 years that we've been here, we've had the pleasure of LeBron being here and being a great part of it and part of the great things that we've done. And so Tom, I haven't really thought of that. I really haven't. So definitely haven't imagined it because I really haven't thought of it.
Dan, Kenny Rohde, ESPN Cleveland here. You've done a lot in the 5 years to try and make LeBron happy. It hasn't worked out as far as a championship. What else can you do to make him happy, and why should he stay and believe that this is going to be the right place?
Keep in mind that we really don't sit around. As great as LeBron James is, and he's one of the, at this point in his career, one of the greatest players to play this game, right? But we don't sit around saying, how can we make him happy? How can we make this other player happy? How can we make anybody happy? What we do is we strategize and say, how can this team, come together, and what can we do? All the elements that you look at, and how can it come together to give it its best chance of winning on the court? Obviously, he's a huge part of that. So, I don't mean not to answer your question, but it really isn't looked at in that kind of silo. And we see there's no one man or one person or even two players that can win a playoff series. I mean, especially this second round or later. I mean, it's really got to be a team effort, and everybody's accountable. Everybody.
Dan, Brian Windhurst, Cleveland Plain Dealer. Whenever your evaluation period is over, however long it takes, you're in a sort of an unorthodox business position with the team because you can't maybe make decisions with going forward when it comes to trades, the draft, maybe a coaching situation, without getting an answer from LeBron, which may not come until July. Mm-hmm. How can you foresee how that's going to play out? And do you think that's going to put you in an uncomfortable situation when you have to make major decisions?
Well, I think this year, at least as of this time, we don't have a draft pick, and that happens in June. I think free agency starts July 1st, and usually, who knows what happens this summer, usually things roll pretty quick in the free agency part, first few days. And so, clearly we'll be playing, a major role in that. And so, that's kind of the timeline. And there's not really that many, I don't think, outside decisions of things like drafts or trades or things that have to happen between now and then.
Jeff Shudell from the News Herald. Did you see any signs before Game 4 that things were starting to go south? And the second part is, do you think the team ever really meshed like you wanted it to?
I think that anybody watching it will see that we did not see the same team that we saw most of the regular season in the playoffs, right? Or at least in the Boston series of the playoffs. So, as far as the word meshing or not, I can't really answer, on the chemistry side. You can only kind of look at the results. I guess only the guys in that locker room and the head coaching staff really know, they can rank the meshing or chemistry. I guess you can look at a basketball game, and I look at it with no better eyes or no better insight than probably most fans do, right? And you get a feel as to, what's going on the court, but you don't totally know until you really lift the hood and get into it all and understand all the dynamics, because a lot of it's on the court, a lot of it's not on the court, and you want to make sure you have all the information from everything before you really understand what happened.
We all know what Plan A is, Dan. Keeping LeBron. What's Plan B, C, D? I mean, if it does come to that point where he decides to go elsewhere, have you guys already been thinking about other alternatives?
You can look at things technically, right? You can see what our cap space is with and without certain players being there and not being there, and see what at least our options are under the collective bargaining agreement and the moves that theoretically we can make. But there is an infinite amount of moves that you can make, with signing and trade and draft picks and buying draft picks. So there's a lot of maneuverability. And I guess the answer to that, there really is only one plan, and that Plan A encompasses just continuing on in trying to learn from this and trying to become better and trying to understand what matters and what doesn't, and being the best possible franchise we can for Cleveland, Ohio. Really this is about, this maybe sounds a little hokey to you, but to me, I thought about the kids waking up in Cleveland, Ohio this morning and having to be disappointed, and I'm sorry to them, and I apologize to the fans for what happened here, because, this isn't about money, franchise value. This is about, delivering to the fans and to the kids and to the corporate sponsors and everybody else. So Plan A is just one plan, and that's to continue to get better, to rise above this, to learn from this, and deliver a championship to Cleveland, Ohio.
What kind of job do you think Mike Brown did?
Well, again, what we're going to do is look at it, go deep, evaluate it, and I think, when we come to our conclusion, either way, you'll know the answer to that question.
At first blush, what is your?
These guys are good here. I can't, again, when you're in a state, and I really, I look at this as any fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers who's sitting there, wherever they may be in Ohio or in the world, and looking at the team and looking what the expectation level is with what happened, clearly there's a gap and there's things we need to address. So whether it's coaching or not coaching, or it's the talent or the motivation or the environment or the music we play in the arena, whatever it might be, right? We're going to look at everything and then come to conclusions.
Dan, back on your left, on the counter.
You can just say 9 o'clock would be.
All right, 9 o'clock. And as part of these evaluations, Danny's obviously in the final year of his deal. Do you expect him to be back, or is he part of this evaluation, and could he be gone as well?
Say that again? Danny
Ferry.
Yeah, I think that the ownership team is going to look at every single piece of this organization, and as we would do any year, I guess, and make an evaluation and a judgment. And you have to do that. You owe it to your customers, to your fans, to the community to do that. So that's what we'll do. Everybody will be evaluated.